Our lead intake process is taking in CSV files with lead data brought to us by our marketing team who is dropping it into Google Drive. And these leads are going to be taken from our CSV file in batches of 200 at a time. I need to make sure that any downstream apps that I'm working with will also be able to take batches of data. And unfortunately for us, Salesforce does give us that option. Before I can do anything else, though, I want to go to my actions now and add a step and an action in app. All my trigger is doing for me so far is just alerting me that a new CSV file is found in the Google Drive. But we need to actually access that file now. So we're going to choose an app and we're going to go with Google Drive again. And we'll see here that recommended top option is to download the file. That is exactly what we want to do. We want to download the contents of our CSV so that we can access the lead data inside of it. So we will select that as our option. And then under the file input field, we need to choose an option. We want to look for our file based on its file ID. How do we know what the file ID is, though? Well, if we take a look at our data tree here, we could see the output of our trigger, which is new CSV file, and we'll see one of the top things that comes out of it is ID. So our trigger is telling us that a new ID has been found, and now we're telling Google Drive we want to download that file with that ID that was found. So ID will be our selection here. Now that I have the file contents, I need to format them in a way that can be easily read by our downstream applications. We can break apart the data values and upload them to where they need to go. I'm going to choose Action and App once again. And this time I'm choosing CSV Tools by Workato, which gives us the option to either parse a CSV, in other words, break apart the comma-separated values so that we can format them into data pills, or we can also compose a CSV if we wanted to make a brand new file at the end of this. I'm going to parse the CSV, and now I need to choose my CSV contents. Where can we find these leads that we're pulling in? If I click inside the data field, Copilot is giving me a suggestion to use the file contents that are output from step 2 when we downloaded the file. That's exactly what I want. I want to use the file contents. For the column delimiter, that's going to be comma. These are comma separated values here. The CSV will have headers. We want to make sure that we're not saving our header lines as a lead in Salesforce. And now we need to define our header schema. So these should be the columns that we're looking for in this CSV file. And we have a couple ways of going about this. We could manually add column names and then indicate what data type we're working with here. But who wants to do things manually? Let's upload a sample CSV file and we can input all the column names at once. So I'm going to click now, Upload from Device, and then click Next. Now I can review the column headers and make sure that they look right, what I'm looking for. And if it does, I can click Generate Schema. And now I can see in my header schema, all the column headers are listed here. And now my next step, now that I have my lead data, I want to upload it into Salesforce. So I'll search for Salesforce as my app of choice. There's so many things I can do with Salesforce. I'm going to look for creating records in batches. Just like how we're downloading our lead data in batches of 200 at a time, we can also do that with record creation. And Salesforce will ask me to choose my object. I can import any of the objects that are in Salesforce, including custom ones. But here I'm uploading leads, so I'm going to use a pre-existing lead object. And then I get some data down below that I can use to map over my data. First, I need to decide where are the leads coming from? Where is the list of leads that I want to send to Salesforce? If I click into my lead source list, I can see the output of my previous step has an output called lines. And in each line, we can see all of our categories that we want to save here. So lines are good. We're going to use that as our lead source list. And then for the mapping, the only two required fields that Salesforce needs are company and last name, but there are a ton of other optional fields we could add. If I wanted to pick and choose which optional fields to map over, I could select those and then click into each one and find the relevant data pill to click in. But let's move a little faster. Instead, I'm going to do group map data, which will save us a ton of time. So when we click select field group to map, I'm going to scroll down to leads, select that. And then for my data source, I'm going to go inside parse CSV and select lines. And we can see here that we have 9 matching fields. So let's click next. And we can see that these are mapping over exactly how we want them to. I'll apply these 9 mappings. And now all these fields are automatically populated for us. So now not only are we downloading our leads in batches from Google Drive, but we're also able to upload them in batches of 200 at a time to Salesforce.